Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Lecturer Mr. Dedi Sulaiman, M. and all of my beloved friends. It's great to see you all. First of all, let us thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala because of His blessing we are able to come here to join in this presentation today. Okay, before the presentation, let me introduce my group. We are from group 9. Member of group is myself, Sri Dewi as moderator. Member is Widi Nurul Jannah, Tengku Fakhrul Firdausya, and Zulfa Ahmad Faizal. Okay, my friends, in this presentation, we will discuss about 3 models of morphology. First, we will explain the material about item and arrangement model by Zulfa Ahmad on video.
The first material is the item and arrangement model, or IA. The item and arrangement model refers to a grammar which presents the list of the morphs and a set of rules for arranging the morphs. In other words, IF uses a language consisting of lists of components which follow certain patterns and arrangements. Take, for example, these 3 plural nouns, buds, necks, and glasses, to refine 3 morphs or items, namely z, s, and is, which signify the meaning of plurality, and we can also say the 3 are variant forms of the morpheme s. To account for the 3 plural nouns above using IA, we can arrange the morph in sequence as follows: bud plus z, neck plus s, and glass plus z. The morph bud, neck, and glass, respectively pronounced as bud, neck, and glass, are combined with a certain variant of the morpheme s. Notice that the morpheme is phonologically conditioned. If the final consonant sound of a stem is voiced as in bud, we add z to the stem. If a stem ends in a voiceless consonant sound as in neck, we combine the stem with s. Next, if the final sound of a stem is a sibilant or strident, such as glass, we then add z or s to the stem. To put it another way, in IA, we divide words into separate morphs. For instance, in the word form next, we may also say that the plural noun is made up of 2 morphs next, namely neck and s. In this context, a morph refers to the realization of a morpheme, which is an abstract component to represent form and meaning correspondence.
Next, the material about item and process model explained by me on video. Okay, let me explain the item and process model, like some basic morphology. The item and process, or IP, model may be defined as a grammar which palette elements or items as the fundamental from which then yields a mob through phonological operation. Burr 2004 60. For elaboration, let us refer to the plural marker as in these nouns, buds, cars, necks, and glass. Suppose we all agree that the underlying form of S is z. In the 3 words above, we find phonological process where S may become or be released in the z, s, or z. If the final consonant sound of a stem is voiced as in bed and ka, the S will become z. Further, we can say that s and s or s are derived from the underlying from s. As we observe, the s becomes in the non-nix whose stem ends in a voiceless consonant so namely k, where s in the plural noun glass, whose stem ends in a strident or sibilant namely s. The s will become is or is weak form. We see above that the lexeme bud, she, ni, and glass undergo the process of pluralization, and the morpheme may become is, s, or is, or is, depending on the final sound of the stem. Matthew 1998 say the item and process model can be used to analyze inflection, both regular and expressional ones, in a consistent way. Below is an example taken from Matthew 1998, 127 to account for the regular plural noun cis. Here we say cis is derived from the lexeme C, which undergoes the process of pluralization, and the morpheme is released into S. Next, to apply IP to account for irregular expressional plural forms such as feet, teeth, and kiss, we say that the three are derived from foot, tooth, and goose, which have undergone the operation of pluralizing by changing the vowel sound u or u or wu to the long one e. Matthew 1998 129 to count for past tense and past participle such as spam and have spam, we can apply a similar formula x to x and d, where x represent verb. Matthew 1998 128 in this context, both from the spam result from the lexeme spam, which goes through the process of becoming past tense and becoming past participle, respectively, as we can observe above. The IP formula have so far worked consistently in dealing with regular and irregular pluralization, the past tense, and past participle. Thank you. The submaterial item and process model explain, which is IP pro argument and IP counter argument by Tengku Fahrul Firdausya on video.
And I will take over for this part. First is IP pro arguments. Now suppose we would like to analyze the samples of sentence. The sentence is, last Saturday I saw thousands of sheep which will be sold. So which morphological model can or should we use, IA or IP? If we use IA, it turns out we will face difficult in splitting up saw, sheep, and sold. Saw is past tense of see, sheep is plural, and sold is past participle. Into spread morph in order to make the item and their arrangement apparent so that we can see a direct connection between form and meaning, unlike kiwis and attends, where we see the sequence of kiwi plus s and attend plus 8, and the correlation between four elements. There is no similar sort of arrangement in saw, sheep, and sold. As a result, IA turned out to be ineffective in dealing with irregular forms such as saw, sheep, and sold. In IR or morpheme-based morphology, a 1-1 correspondence between forms and function is crucial. The problem with the two sample words is that they have no visible concerned item or morph to show plurality in sheep and past tense in saw. If we use IP to tackle this data, we would say that the word from south is different from lexeme C, which undergoes the process of becoming past tense, and the word from ship is plural, result from the lexeme ship, which goes through the operation of pluralism. In summary, we say that salt is result from cell, which is undergoes the process of becoming past participle. From the clarification showed IP proves to a better tool than IA in dealing with English morphology, particularly inflectional morphology. Next is IP counterarguments. As a matter in fact, IA can still be used to account for the plural shift. The analysis will be shift plus zeromorph. As for south and south, the item and arrangement are respectively as follows: C plus ed and cell plus ed. Nevertheless, this does not seem to be consistent with the basic idea of morphemes base morphology, where a one-one correspondence between a morpheme and meaning is expected. Thank you.
And the last material about word and paradigm model explained by Widi Nurul Jana on video.
Third model of morphology, which is called word and paradigm, or WIPI. WIPI focuses on word forms associated with their respective lexemes and the word forms function as the basic elements. WIPI also says that can be synonymous with amorphous morphology. WIPI used the term the word-based model to refer to WIPI and points out that the word is the main component and the word is not split up into items but is formulated using word schemas. Based on model, the plural nouns doors, bottles, computers, mugs, curtains, roads, and crabs, for instance, can be present in the word schema below. A. Case, bottles, computers, mugs, curtains, roads, crabs. B. Is and an. Plurality of XS. As the word schemas above may represent the entire set of regular plural nouns. We notice that the variable x may represent a different final sound of a word form, such as e in cake, a in bottle, in computer, in mug, in curtain, in road, and in crab. All of these word forms are singular nouns and in a voiced sound, and accordingly the plural marker as will realize into as. In other contexts, it may realize into as after a voiceless sound or as. after a strident or sibilant. VP appears to be concise. Regarding the word-based theory,
Okay guys, before we end this presentation, here is the intermezzo from group 10.
Achievers? Yes. Smart? Clear. Handsome? Of course. Yes, that's the figure of Daddy Sulaiman, a favorite lecturer in the English Literature Department. If you don't know, let's get to know more. Daddy Sulaiman was born in Bandung on December 29, 1979. He is the second of 4 children. Of the 4 siblings, all of them are good at playing guitar, but none of them are good at singing. Daddy Sulaiman finished elementary school in Padasuka, Bandung in 1992. In fact, from grades 2 to 6 of elementary school, it was not seen that he had potential. After completing elementary school, he continued his education at SMPN 16 Bandung and still doesn't see what his potential is. After graduating from junior high school in 1995, he managed to get a scholarship from the governor of West Java to study dormitory at SMU Plus Cisarua, Bandung. From here, he began to recognize his strengths and managed to rank in his class. In grade 3 of high school, he majored in languages, namely the concentration of German. Graduated in 1998, he enrolled at Gadjah Mada University, majoring in Japanese literature, because he wants to be a proficient in Japanese and become a dubber. In addition, he also applied to the Indonesian Education University, majoring in Sentra Tasik or art, drama, dance, and music, and wants to become an actor. But from the 2 universities, he was declared not to have passed. In the same year, he continued his study of linguistic concentration in the English Literature program at IAIN Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. He continued his study of linguistic concentration in English Literature program at IAIN Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. He was studying at IAIN Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. In his 3rd semester, to be precise, there was a moment where he prepared to attend art performance instead of taking the midterm exam. As a result, he was punished by his lecturer for translating in the translation course, because the lecturer was satisfied with the result of his translation. From what was previously punished, he was instead given a job by the lecturer to translate, and he was paid 50 to 300,000 rupiahs. At that time, the lecturer was teaching at a private university, so after he finished college, he was asked to help teach. The moment he taught for the first time, when he was in thesis trial on August 99. Then, in September, he also taught 5th semester students at Al Ghifari University. Only then, in February, after graduation, he starts teaching phonology at the State Islamic University of Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. Even though he graduated from S1, he could teach at the university, because at the time no profession required lecturers to have a master's degree. Before the 5th semester, he was already an editor at a publisher. At this time, he always did the things he loved as well as his job, such as editing and translating. After graduating from college in 2002, he decided to get married at the age of 23 in March 2003. And he has 3 children. In the same year, he continued his postgraduate studies by taking a linguistic study program at the Linguistic Faculty at the Indonesian Education University. After graduating in 2005, He was trusted to be the head of the English Literature Department at the Literature Faculty at Al-Ghifari University, Bandung. After serving as Dean of the Faculty of Letters at Al-Ghifari University for 1 year, he was subsequently elected to lead the English Literature Department at the Faculty of Adab and Humanities, UIN Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. In 2017, he decided to continue his doctoral studies at the Linguistic Study Program, Faculty of Cultural Sciences, Pajajaran University, and graduated on December 29, 2020 with a perfect GPA. Besides studying, he is also in business, editing books, translating, and playing theater to earn an income. Apart from that, he is also an activist in theater, and playing theater is the most memorable moment for him during college. He appeared from stage to stage, bringing his translation and editing work. It became a challenge for him to manage a time between his busy life. During college, he rarely hung out like his other friends. From him, that time was very precious. He spent his time studying, translating, editing, and performing. He received his informal education from various institutions. In 2009, he had the opportunity to study at Ohio State University in the USA. In the following year, in 2010, he also had the opportunity to study at the State University of Malang. As an auditor, he obtained certification from TUV Rhineland. Certification as an Android developer he obtained from classdigital.com. As an instructor as well as a hypnotherapist, he obtained from the Indonesian Board Hypnotherapy or IBH. He also obtained certification as a public speaker from BNSP or Badan Nasional Sertifikasi Profesional. His interest in language has brought him certification from UPI as a BIPA or Bahasa Indonesia bagi Penutur Asing teaching staff. In the field of art, he and his team took the time to make an album of Sajak Doa Tanah Air by creating and playing a typical Sundanese musical instrument in the form of saron. From several works that he has created, he managed to get 31 certificates. Daddy Sulaiman believes that between the words there is a will and there is a way, there is one phrase that most people forget, namely, there is a wall. He has the belief that if someone has a desire, then the person will be faced with a wall that looks like a challenge, and that the challenge will lead people on a path that will take them. In the face of various difficulties, he always sticks to the inverse of the switch mode or on-off to on-on. When he is on top, it will be on, and as well as when he is at the bottom, it remains on. He is a person who always thinks positively, even when faced with any kind of difficulty. There is one verse of the Quran that he always utters, namely, Inna ma'al yusri yusro, which means that in every difficulty, there must be ease. Daddy Sulaiman is the type of person who is all in, meaning he tries everything, and all out, meaning he is a very active person. This can be seen during his undergrad education. Besides being a theater activist, he tried to play various musical instruments such as gamelan, angklung, saron, and so on. This activity is part of his hobby besides thinking, enjoying new things, and traveling abroad. His first trip abroad occurred in 2009 to America. At the time, he was studying at the Indonesia Education University, and 7 people were chosen to go there. Then to London in 2013 with his 3 friends. The background of his trip was the tagline, namely 5 continental public speakers, become a public speaker on 5 continents. After several trips, the Netherlands became his favorite and most memorable country. The Netherlands managed to captivate him because for him, the country is the most time disciplined compared to other countries. His current goal is to become an ambassador in Singapore or Netherlands next year. If successful, he will temporarily stop being a lecturer for 4 to 5 years. This plan is not yet known by people, and currently he is studying to fall again and psychological test, because in about 7 months, namely in July, he will be testing for Singapore or Dutch cultural education. His message to students is by his life motto, namely, dream it, believe it, achieve it. Everyone has right to succeed. Only how we dreams, how we achieve that dream, realize and achieve it, that is different. So dream big and believe that the dream will come true and reach for the dream. Wow, that's long, right? That is Sulaiman's career journey to where it is now started from his interest in languages since high school. Now he can explore the world. But for those of you who also have big dreams like him, always try and keep your spirits up. Be your version of successful person.
That's all that our group can convey. We apologize if there were mistakes in presentation. The next season is Q&A on column comment. Hopefully, the presentation we will give benefit for us. Thank you for attention. See you later and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.